So it was recently leaked that Kyrie Irving requested a trade out of Cleveland, saying that he wanted to be the face of a team. With that in mind, today in NBA Source, I'll be discussing where I think Kyrie Irving will go in a trade. This news took a lot of NBA fans by surprise, as it seemed like Cleveland had a good system with LeBron, Kyrie, and Kevin Love, and they were just one trade away from acquiring a new superstar to try and beat the Warriors. However, it doesn't really seem like Kyrie wants this, as he also stated that he wants to be the face of his own team and doesn't want to be the second scoring option to LeBron James. Along with the news that he wanted to be traded out of Cleveland, Kyrie also released a list of teams that he would be interested in going to. This list included the Miami Heat, the San Antonio Spurs, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and the New York Knicks. So today I wanted to break down each team to see why he would want to go to each of them. The first team is Minnesota. Earlier in the season, it seemed like there'd be a trade that would land Jimmy Butler in Cleveland, playing with Kyrie Irving. This is exactly what the two of them both wanted. But when the trade with Cleveland and the Chicago Bulls fell through, Jimmy Butler was traded to the Minnesota Timberwolves. So it's obvious that Kyrie and Jimmy Butler both want to play together, but if Kyrie were to go to Minnesota, the problem is they already have three established stars, two of which being superstars in Jimmy Butler and Karl-Anthony Towns. So if Kyrie were to go there, it'd be hard to say if he would be the first scoring option and the face of the team. Not to mention, the Timberwolves would have to give up one of their big three, most likely Andrew Wiggins, and some of their other assets, like Ricky Rubio or Jeff Teague. And because of this, I think the Timberwolves would not want to do this trade because they'd just be giving up too much for one player. And Andrew Wiggins is young and looks to be shaping into a superstar. The second team is the San Antonio Spurs. So the Spurs are going to have a really tough time trading for Kyrie because they have very little trade value. They obviously aren't going to trade Kawhi because he's the cornerstone of their team and the face of the Spurs right now. After that, their next best players are Manu Ginobili, who's 39 and probably going into his last season in the NBA, Tony Parker, who's 35 and really starting to show his age with all his numbers decreasing, and finally LaMarcus Aldridge, who is a good player but isn't shaping up into the star that everyone thought he would be. Not to mention, his heart problems earlier in the season were very dangerous and prevented him from playing, and they could resurface, leaving the Spurs with very little to trade to Cleveland for Kyrie. Not to mention that if Kyrie went to the Spurs, he'd be playing in the shadow of Kawhi Leonard. In Cleveland, he's playing in the shadow of LeBron James. So what's really the difference from playing in the shadow from one great player to the next? So this trade doesn't really make much sense at all, and most definitely isn't going to happen. The third team is the Miami Heat. This trade makes a little more sense because if Kyrie were to go there, he would be the best player on the team, and thus the face of the franchise, which is exactly what he wanted, and probably the first scoring option. And you also get to play beside other good talent, such as Hassan Whiteside, Dion Waiters, and Goran Dragic. But if Miami were to make this trade, their pool of talent would take a big hit. So the first asset they would obviously lose is Goran Dragic, because if Cleveland's getting rid of their star point guard, they're probably going to want to take Goran Dragic, who is a good point guard and really showed his potential in the last season, but definitely is a step down from Kyrie. The fourth and final team that Kyrie said he'd be interested in going to is the New York Knicks. Finally, this trade makes the most sense, as who wouldn't want a duo of Kyrie Irving and Kristaps Porzingis? That would obviously be deadly. But New York would obviously have to give up Carmelo Anthony and a good center like Guillermo Hernangomez, who is a good young talent that could replace Tristan Thompson on the Cavs and improve their team all around. But the one thing is, Carmelo has a no trade clause, meaning that if he were being traded to a team that he doesn't like, he could stop it. Carmelo said if he were being traded to play in Cleveland, that he would not waive his no trade clause, meaning that he would let the trade be official. This is good for both teams, as Kyrie could put New York in a good direction, and Cleveland could entice LeBron to stay on the Cavs if they could bring his good friend Carmelo. Not to mention, Kyrie will get the chance to be the face of the Knicks with Porzingis, creating a deadly duo for sure. The fifth and final option for a team that Kyrie could be on is actually the Cavs. So the Cleveland Cavaliers have Kyrie Irving under a contract until 2019. So they could really just tell him, too bad, we're not going to trade you, and keep him on the team. But then if LeBron left in the following offseason, the Cavs would have a hard time signing free agents and bringing new talent to their team. Because why would someone want to play with Kyrie if they know he doesn't even want to be there? And this would make the rebuilding process for the Cavs much harder. So it makes more sense just to trade Kyrie and get some new pieces while they still can. All this, I think it's obvious that the Cleveland Cavaliers will trade Kyrie Irving for new pieces and will send him to New York. This seems like the best option for everyone in the trade because it helps both teams where they lack. And with that, I want to thank you guys for watching. Remember to like and subscribe, and that's it.
Finish him!